Hello everyone. So I hope you did hit the like button for the previous video, and if you didn't, do like this one and subscribe to our channel, the AccuWeather Learning Hub. Now, as promised by me, in this video I'll be bringing IPO to you, but you also have to remember to turn on your notifications for the further videos, since this is going to be a playlist of videos describing IPO nicely. So in the upcoming videos we'll be doing IPO, what is IPO, why is an IPO released, how is an IPO released, what all the steps a company follows before releasing an IPO, how does it go after that, how is it listed, how can you buy one, and what all the processes are involved. I'll be doing everything for you. All you need to do is to subscribe our channel, turn on your notifications so that you can check out every video I release. So let's begin. So initial public offering, which is the full form of IPO, as it goes, initial public offering. So offering which is made for the first time or the initial time to the public. So this is how we explain IPO. Let me give you a definition. So IPO refers to the process of offering shares of a private corporation to the public by issuance of a new stock. So when a new stock is issued in the market, through which a private company turns into a public limited company. So we have heard these names, right? Some companies write XYZ private limited, some companies write XYZ public limited. So when a company is a private limited company and lists its IPO in the market, then it becomes a public limited company. Of course, when the public buys the IPO, then it becomes the public limited company. So till now the ownership was just for the private entities, for the owners or the beginners of the company. Now it has been listed and it is now a public limited company. Public is the owner of the IPO. So companies can only do this when they maintain certain requirements as listed by the exchanges. So there are two exchanges in India, Bombay Exchange, National Stock Exchange. There are more, but they are not that important. So we will keep this to two, Bombay Exchange and National Stock Exchange, BSE and NSE. So the requirements are listed by BSE, NSE and SEC. So what is this SEC? SEC is Security Exchange Board. It is like a policeman taking care of all the listing process. It is the Stock Exchange Board. So now why is the IPO released? Why does a company want its ownership to be shared by the public, not just by the people who designed the company, who just invested in it earlier, who bring out the idea, the new seed of the company, but they want public to join hands. So why do they want this? So when the IPOs are released, when promoters are the initial people who have promoted the company, who have initiated the company. So initiators or promoters of the company, when they need additional funds, they release an IPO. So supposedly they wish to expand it to nations, world, etc. So they release an IPO at this time. So as I said, one, it is done to expand the business. Second, sometimes you need more money for the working capital. Obviously working capital, as more and more you expand the company, you need more and more working capital. So you release an IPO. Sometimes to repay loans. So for initial investments, people take loans, but at a point of time they have to repay these loans. So for that, they release the IPO, they gain money from the public and use it to repay their loans. So for the exit of previous investor, this can be the fourth point. So sometimes initially, also known as the angel investors. What are the angel investors? Whenever there's a new startup, there are certain big firms, big people, rich ones who decide to invest in new firms. They invest this in exchange of certain shares or certain equity of the company. Like, we'll be investing you supposedly 2 crores and you will have to give us 20% share of the company. Now no matter which height the company reaches, the 20% owner of the company's shares will be that angel investor. So this is why angel investors invest initially in a company, but sometimes they also wish to exit. Now supposedly they wish to take out their funds and invest it in some other place. So they have to do this. Now they will be taking out their funds, but the company needs investment, it needs working capital. So it lists the IPO so that the angel investor can exist once the company has received additional funds. So they can get a lot money from investors like me and you. We make small investments, but they do a lot for the company. So there are banks, financial institutes and others just investing in the stocks or the IPOs. So IPO is known as the initial public offering, initial, which means the first time. So sometimes company release their IPOs twice. Like once the company releases, then another time the company releases. So then they are known as further public offerings or follow-up public offerings. Now, how can you know what IPOs should be bought, or how should be the IPOs bought, or which IPO is good for your investment? Obviously, you aim to make gains from buying an IPO. So there are various sites. For example, I'll give you Money Control. Money Control is a site where you can know how much the IPO was subscribed on what day. Let's take an example like Paytm. You remember Paytm released the IPO, but then it didn't work out. People didn't buy it. So if you go to a Money Control site, or there are hundreds of sites, I'm not advertising Money Control, but that's my favorite site, so I'll be giving you example from Money Control. So if you go to it, you will find name of the IPO, then when was the IPO listed, on what day, how much of it was bought, by how many people, at what cost. So when you click on your IPO, you can check out the live subscription. Like right now, what is the subscription of the IPO? Like supposedly 20% was released. So right now, how many people have subscribed it? Like out of that 20%, what amount of IPO has been already sold? So date of release, other categories, other details, you can find out everything through these sites. So why are IPOs raised? Like we know, as SEBI laws, promoters can't hold more than 75% of the shares of their company beyond a point. So when a company reaches a certain height, there is a law which says that promoters can't hold more than 75% of the shares. Who are promoters? The initiators. So they can't hold more than 75%. So they have to make the public join them. So this is what they do. They release an IPO, we join in, and it becomes a public limited company. So now there are 4 different types of buyers for an IPO. Yes, it's not like you have to be, but you already lie in certain category of buyers. If you are an individual investor, you invest in small amounts. If you are a huge company, if you are an institution, you lie in different categories. So we'll slowly understand all of these categories. So first one can be anchor investors. Anchor investors are QIIs. Now what is QII? I will be telling you. But first, anchor investors. So anchor investors can get 50 to 60% of a particular IPO. Supposedly 20,000 shares were released. So they can get 50 to 60% shares out of this, not more. So retail investors. Retail investors are people like me and you. Now many of us apply for IPOs, but most of us don't get them because IPOs are limited, but everyone can't get them obviously. So lottery system is used. Now the investors who are lucky, they get it. The rest of them have to apply again. Also, these anchor investors are investors which make an investment more than 10 crores. So that's a huge amount, right? So there are big investors, institutions. So they make investments more than 10 crores, and we retail investors are permitted to get a share, or the 20,000 IPOs or 20,000 shares were released. Out of this, 50% will be given to the anchor investors, and 35% is the limit, or is the cutoff. It has to be given to the retail investors. So 35% are insured for you. You'll be getting it through the lottery system. Anchor investors will get more like 50%, and that's it. So keep following, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, turn on the notifications, join us for further videos. In the next video, I'll explain you QIIs and etc. Keep following.